G'day guys, Club Cara here again. I'm going to give you do a bit of a video clip on planting garlic. We've been getting asked by friends and just on different forums about growing garlic, and people are sort of hell-bent on the spacing between your garlic. Now, I've varied my spacings over time. Generally you get them in while the soil's still warm, just prior to winter. So probably for us in the southern hemisphere here, it's generally around April, mid-April roughly. That's when I planted them. It's now the end of July, and we won't harvest these till probably summer, which will be around November. So as you can see, the spacing, I've got about 4 fingers roughly in between each garlic, and then obviously some haven't quite grown so well. There's one here that hasn't come up, and you know, the spacings sort of vary, and I've tried a couple of different techniques with the spacing. So these are a little bit more spaced out to what I'd normally do, just because I run out of room. I like to cram them up a little bit. Just another tip, if you are growing in raised beds, it probably pays to keep your planting inside the bed as far as you can, and you know, generally about 20 centimetres, because this will be more prone to drying out just with the heat, the sun hitting it and all the rest of it. So give it a little bit of room inside the bed and start your planting. But I mean, you can see some of these stems are like, you know, as thick as my finger at the moment. There's a lot of nitrogen in this bed, so once again it's got the horse manure mixed in with the sawdust and a fair bit of soil underneath, but that goes pretty deep. It's light and fluffy. They're not struggling to sort of, you know, push into the soil, or you know, for the roots to travel deep to get a real healthy plant. So we generally grow about 300-400 head of garlic each year, and that sort of sees us through the whole season. And when we see them starting to sprout again in the cupboard, we plant again, and then I'll freeze the garlic bulbs whole, and that'll get me through the winter. So this is one of our beds, and if we just look over here, I'll put some of these in a little bit later in the season. It was just more of a time factor thing. I got some in and busy with work and all the rest of it, but we got this in. Now this soil hasn't got anywhere near the amount of organic matter in it. It's pretty raw soil. I've just recently put a little bit of dynamic lifter and blood and bone in here, and I'm having to sort of scarify the surface a little bit more in this one, just so it doesn't go rock hard after a rain. So we're just going to see what the difference is. I mean, we can see over here there's, you know, some bigger plants, and then we come over here and there's some that are still struggling to sort of really start to reach out and get some sort of thickness. But I'm not overly concerned. It's really, by the end of the season, we want to see big bulbs. So we're going to see, we'll give an update on this and just see what the better technique is. You can actually trim the top of the garlic plant itself, the fronds of the garlic here, and you can use that in salads and cooking and stuff like that. But it can also just stifle the stem growth and put more energy back into the ground. But we'll show you an update as we go along, and I'll show you the different techniques that we use to sort of encourage the bulb of the garlic to mature and get as big as we can, because that's the business end of the plant. But it's such an easy plant to grow. You basically use each individual part of the garlic bulb, you split them apart, push them into the ground. I generally push them in probably about that deep, you know, and make a bit of an indent, and I don't even cover them over really. Generally after a rain it'll cover itself over. So I definitely encourage people to grow this. If you've got space in your garden, it takes at least around 6 months to grow, so it's a long-standing crop. But the rewards are, you know, you've just got garlic for 12 months. You're not buying anything from the grocery store, the supermarkets, which has been generally imported and fumigated. Try and, you know, grow your own. You don't need insecticides or herbicides sprayed on these things. You know, they're just such a hardy plant. and they're really good to grow, and there's so many health benefits for it. So if you haven't already, or you're getting up to that season, then get yourself some good strains, plug them into an area, keep it weeded. It can get quite painful if you've got grasses growing in between when they're young, because it's hard to identify what's a grass and what's a garlic. So just stay on top of your weeding, and you know, just encourage the growth of the plant and reduce the competition in the garden bed. So anyway, hope you've liked the video, and if you haven't already, subscribe and hit the like button, give us some feedback, and we'll keep you posted on the progression of this garden bed and the other one, and we can see the comparison between, you know, one that's got a lot of fertiliser or horse manure, organic matter, and one that hasn't had a lot. So we'll keep you updated on that, and you can make your own determination. No worries, thanks for watching.